Quarter Guy here, and you'll have to forgive me for not putting out one of these last week. A lot's been going through my head lately, but you don't want to hear all the details of my life. There's something I need to tell you all. 2 years ago, at the end of my top 15 gym leaders collab with Three's Apprentice, I started teasing the idea of a top 15 Worst Mavericks collab with Fawful's Minion. Recently, he announced that the project is dead. I want to corroborate that. Top 15 Worst Mavericks no longer exists as a collab. I am taking over the project myself. Considering I'm pretty much the biggest Mega Man fanatic in the entire Countdown making community, if Logan doesn't feel like he has it in him to finish up the editing for this list, I figure it's probably best if I do it myself. I mean, I've been getting bugged about it, and I figure that I owe it to myself, to Logan, and to my subscribers to get this monkey off my back. So anyway, yeah. From this point on, Top 15 Worst Mavericks is going to be a solo project. Not sure when it's going to get done, but it will get done. I've come too far to just let it die completely. So, anyways, So today the teaser for Star Wars Episode 7 was released, and considering it's just a teaser, I really wasn't expecting to see that much footage. Well, I wasn't supposed to see a lot of footage, but from what I have seen, from what the teaser did show us, it looks pretty interesting. Is it just me, or is that one Sith Lord lightsaber resemblant of Henry's beam katana from No More Heroes? Yeah, I kind of see the resemblance there. Well, since I can't think of anything else to talk about at the moment, user questions. First question comes from, and forgive me if I mispronounce it, Tyreek George, who asks, what's your fave celestial brush technique from Okami? That is a tricky one. Though if I had to say, it would have to be the Power Slash. Simple, effective, that is if you use that button that makes your lines straight. It's pretty much the one that you're probably going to use the most often throughout the entire game. Being a fan of swords, I'm kind of biased toward the Power Slash. Another one I like is the Time Slow, for obvious reasons. I mean, with enemies slowed down, you pretty much have a bigger opportunity to land tons of damage on an enemy. And it's also essential for some of the puzzles, but then every brush technique is essential for at least one of the puzzles to some extent. Next question comes from Keyblade Knight, who asks, how does the idea Castlevania Warrior sound to you? I honestly think that could work. I mean, Castlevania's had other crossovers in the past. I mean, Harmony of Despair, Castlevania Judgment. Yes, I will continue saying that I enjoyed Castlevania Judgment. Nobody is going to change my mind. And yeah, and I think the idea of Castlevania Warriors could honestly work. But honestly, one thing would have to happen. Ideally, it would be set during the Demon Castle War of 1999, according to the series timeline. That is the one time period that has been mentioned in Castlevania, in the main Castlevania timeline, that has not been addressed directly in a game. Well, or rather, have had a game about it. And considering this was such a major conflict in the series timeline, I'm surprised it hasn't had a game involving it yet. And I mean, we're talking about a war, the supposedly final war against Dracula. It would be the perfect setting for a Dynasty Warrior-style game. I mean, Julius Belmont would have been in his prime during that time. It would be awesome seeing him whip the ever-living crap out of the undead with particle effect maelstroms. And then there's characters like Yoko, Belnades, and Alucard. I mean, Alucard's been an ever-present force in the Castlevania ethos ever since Dracula's Curse. So, yeah. But considering Lords of Shadow didn't do so hot, the reboot didn't do so hot overall as a trilogy. I'm not sure if Konami is ever going to visit Castlevania again at this rate. I don't know. Metal Gear seems to be their big priority right now. Next question comes from DarkForce213, who asks, how do you get your videos noticed on YouTube? Probably the biggest thing that can get your videos noticed is getting them exposed to people in the Countdown community. Likes show up often in the feeds of the Countdown makers in the community. And if they like a video, chances are it's gonna get noticed. Case in point, the first vocal countdown by a video maker known as the Black Rose got liked by the Autarch, and not very much later, it's like Black Rose got like 1,000 subscribers in a relatively short amount of time. Quite possibly aided by that thing. And I personally didn't really get that well noticed. Well, it's like, I first started really getting noticed when I did my collab with The Tree's Apprentice. But I've been getting more and more noticed since then because I keep putting out content on a regular basis. That's another thing to be that's another important thing. Keeping your content on it's like putting out content on a regular basis is important. That's why I normally try to put out one of these unscripted once a week, though I've been slipping on that. I really should stop slipping on that. Another thing, one of your early countdowns, if you want to make, or videos in general, should probably have a relevant topic to the current state of things. It's like, right now, my double top 5 Bowser battles is on pace to become my most viewed video, surpassing my Castlevania countdown eventually. Probably because, well, Bowser is one of the most famous video game villains ever, so of course a video about Bowser is going to get noticed. And that's really the advice I can give right now. Next question comes from, oh goodness, how do I pronounce this? Rune J. Juir? His question is, when are you going to make a solo countdown about Pokemon? A lot of people seem to do that at some point or another. And to be honest, I would like to do one as well. The question is, I have no idea when. It's like, favorite Pokemon is going to be really tough to do because it's really hard for me to decide my favorites out of over 700 of them. But there are a lot of other topics I could think of doing. That being said, I don't know when I'm going to do it. Or if. I would like to, but I'm not sure when or if it's going to happen. Final question comes from Dark Samus Fan 11, who asks, what are your thoughts on Primal Groudon and Primal Kyogre? They definitely look intimidating. Though it does bring up a question. When the inevitable Sinnoh remakes come out, Are they going to bring back Primal Dialga?